Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Dark Hustle. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast and subscribing and following us. It's super cool. You guys are the best. Also, if you are not a member of our Patreon, what are you doing? Go check it out. It's got multiple levels to choose from, and we have early access over there for all of our episodes and a bunch of other stuff. So go check us out on Patreon.
Hello?
Hey,
Hey, is this Jessica?
it is, yes.
How are you?
Good.
That's right. So you actually have is it a podcast or a TV show?
So, it's a TV show. We were actually live on air for about 20 years, and then my producer retired, so now we kind of take it on the road. It still's on air, but we do everything, just kind of on location, and then we do interviews with the country music artists, Zoom, and we're actually going to end up going out to like Texas and stuff to some of the people that we have talked to some of their music festivals. So
That's crazy. Have there been any artists that you've talked to or spoken to that ended up being really big that you didn't think were going to be big, or like any big artists that you've met that you were like really cool?
honestly, we've had so many that really surprised. Tally Tucker really surprised me. I mean, she just has such a big name with an entire family that are legends. You can't have your mom being a huge pop country star and then your aunt Tanya Tucker, and your childhood memories include going on tour and singing on stage with them, and you'd expect her to be just kind of a different person than she was. She's so down to earth, so relatable, and just a really cool human.
Tanya Tucker?
Tally Tucker, her niece.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, so she's a country artist as well, but she's lived in Vegas for like 10 years and has a bunch of residencies in Vegas, and she's just like she reminds me a lot of like Shania Twain vibes, just a beautiful woman who's living her best life and embracing being a woman and being strong, and she's just a really cool person.
How cool is that? I mean, like, to meet their family. Because, I don't want to say we put people on a pedestal, but we kind of put celebrities and artists and stuff like that on this pedestal, and it's like they're supernatural and they're not human. And then you're like, what? They do, like, have normal stuff? What?
I know. Yeah. Yeah, there's been just really cool people that you kind of watch grow and, just appreciative, I think, on both sides. They're independent artists or they're kind of making their way, and just, I think we both appreciate the help. So.
Yeah, I think TikTok's done a lot for that as far as, like, artists being independent because, like, back in the day, you're the same age as I am. You're 40, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so back in the day when we didn't have this stuff, the only way you knew of new music and new artists was the radio. Like, it wasn't, that's it. But now you see all these kind of random people doing all this cool stuff, and it's got to be definitely to social media,
Yeah, I think social media and just media in general. A few of the artists that we've talked to, were on Voice or on um, America's Got Talent, something of that sort. And so they kind of took that and pivoted and, learned from that and moved on. There's Mark Powell who he's like climbing the billboards. He's taken everything that he's done, and he's got a big music festival out in Texas, and then he bought a lodge in Estes Park in Colorado, and all these singer-songwriters are coming out there and writing all their songs out there. He's just a cool individual, I think, who's given back to the music community, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people realize how much goes into a song. Like, just your average person probably thinks, oh, okay, well, this person wrote a song and sings it and it sounds great. But, like, there's so many different aspects to it.
Yeah. And you got to get to learn about that as you're doing the interviews. They're not just these people who living this crazy life. Sorry, I can't talk today. But, they are the same type of people we are, going through their ups and downs, and just
Yeah.
they have the gift of a good voice, which I do not. I sound like a
Right.
dog.
No, me neither.
So
Yeah. Well, you mentioned residency. I feel like everybody and their brother has a Vegas residency now. It's like, Miranda, I'm a huge Miranda fan. She had one, and then Reba had one. Carrie's got one. Blake's like all these people are out there singing. We're like, okay, so now we have to go to Vegas to see you.
I know. It's kind of funny. It's like the rebirth of Vegas, the rebranding of Vegas, of it being almost a music venue, and with the Sphere out there now, it's there's so many big things coming to Vegas again.
Have you been to Vegas?
Yeah. I actually went through a stint where I thought I was going to move there. It was like I turned 30 out there. I'd never been. Turned 30 out there, and I just was obsessed. I walked around with the lights, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is amazing. And I actually, I think I knew it before I actually knew it, that I was coming to the end of a 13-year relationship, and I'm like, this would be a great place, just a rebrand, restart. And then I decided that I enjoyed partying a little too much for Vegas.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So.
Well, the Mirage closed.
Would get me down. It's wild, yeah. And they tore down. Which one was it? The really old one. Another really old one down at the end. They just tore it down. I can't think of which one it was.
I'm Googling it right now.
Yep. Oh shoot. I can see it. I stayed there.
The Tropicana?
Yes.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's what it says. Tropicana, they demolition on that, and the Mirage closed, which, when you hear things like that, you're like, okay, maybe things aren't going as well as it looks. But then again, it could be like what you said, just a rebranding.
Yeah. Yes, that's kind of what I think it is, out with, you have the really old Vegas, with the old strip, and then the new strip, I think, is just kind of a constant turnover.
I might have to go before I die.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it really is. So I don't know if they still do free drinks if you're sitting there gambling, but that can be dangerous.
Right. That would be a bad combination if you just get drunk.
I'm like, I can get drunk for free, play the penny slots, and then go out to the club. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So, now I haven't been in 6 years or something, just because I had my wild times, and now I'm kind of just focusing on work and building a brand. But
right.
Not to say.
Well, I mean, if you're like me, it's not. We don't bounce back as quick as 40 when we did when we were 20.
No, it is very devastating to think about how I rebound from a night out now. It's really weird.
Yeah, I don't drink at all. I haven't drank. God, it's so funny we're actually talking about this, because I was talking to the guy that I drop packages off with at one of the places that I go weekly, and he's real cool. We chit chat, and he's like, God, he likes getting drunk and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, the last time I had something to drink was 2018.
Wow.
I just don't spend the money on it.
Yeah, but I don't go out and get drunk or get hammered. But I do after having a long day at work, I will absolutely come home and thoroughly enjoy a really big glass of red.
Oh yeah, nothing's wrong. Yeah, that don't even count. Like a glass or something here or there.
It's good for you,
so
right?
Cool. Do what?
I said it's good for you, right?
They say so. Yeah, no, but I mean go out, drink like that and party and have a good time on that time. No, it's been ages since I've done stuff like that, but nothing's wrong with a glass every now and then.
It's so much work to go out and go party.
It is. It is. Now are you born and raised in Kentucky? This whole time I thought you were in Tennessee, but you live in Kentucky, and that's where you...
Yeah, I actually was born and raised in Southern Ohio, on a big farm out in Felicity, Ohio, and then we ended up moving to Northern Kentucky, and my parents actually moved back to Ohio, but I stayed here, and it's really, I like Northern Kentucky now. Where I want to end up, I don't know. We're talking about maybe going to Florida or something eventually, but Yeah, I don't know. My mom has a lot of health problems and stuff with her cancer, and we've been battling that for 8 years. So I never want to be too far away.
Right, yeah, because Kentucky's not too far from Ohio right now where you're at.
Mm-mm. No, we're like
Yeah.
right across the border, so it makes it really nice.
I can understand that because me and my dad were actually talking about it like a couple of months ago. It's like when you're younger, when you're 20, 25, you just don't, you don't think about it. You go hop, skip, and jump away, or you do all this kind of stuff. But when you get older, you're kind of like what you're saying. You kind of want to stay a little closer to home. You kind of want to not.
Yeah, yeah, and that's been, and as soon as I graduated high school, I graduated for equine science and thought I was going to be this big horse trainer, and I went interviewed at Quarter Horse Congress with some horse trainers and left days after to move to New Jersey to ride for somebody, and then kind of hopped around and moved to Ocala for a while, and then I just decided I was kind of done being on the road and came back home.
Right, right. Now, you've been around horses your entire life, right?
I have, yeah. Yeah, well, since the time I was like 4 or 5, I think is when my mom made the fatal decision to move me to a farm and buy me a crazy pony named Dusty, who would only go if you hung a tobacco leaf in front of his face. So when we first got him, I looked like I was fishing. Yeah, he came from an old tobacco farmer, and he said, now if he doesn't go, you just bait him with tobacco. He loves tobacco. So when he wouldn't go, we had tobacco plots. So I would stick a tobacco leaf on a limb and like hold it in front of his face, and just like I was fishing.
Yep. Oh my, that's wild. I have never heard of that before in my life.
Yeah, he was honoring his pony. Man, he hated men. I remember him chasing my ex-stepdad around and bit him in the butt in the field. Good pony.
It's like the same story you hear with little ponies. They just don't. They get tired of it. They're like, you know what? We don't care.
Yeah. No.
But now your mom rides too, though, right?
She does, man. She is a rocket. She's even through all of this, she kind of decided that she was going to achieve her goals. She was always the mom that we always rode together. I mean, we shared quarter horse circuit and stuff, but it was always I guess the priority was always on my sister and I. We always had the good horses, and um, but she decided after we got older, she's like, I'm going to follow my dreams. So she has. And even through all of her cancer treatment and stuff, we're with some great trainers. And she qualified for the world this year. She won her first belt buckle this year. She's been Congress top 10 a couple times. I mean, she really is a strong human. And she did all of this while going through cancer treatments. I literally would pick her up from Cleveland Clinic and take her to Congress to show. So she's
Holy cow.
Yeah, fighter.
Yeah, that's insane. That's pretty awesome, though. I mean, that's really awesome.
Yep. Every time I want to complain, I'm like, I can't think.
Right. We don't realize what we kind of take that's the wrong word, because you don't even think about it as taking things for granted. Like, that's not what crosses your brain. It's like, okay, you just live in life and you just don't think about certain things until you hear about somebody, going through something harder, or somebody that survived this or done that or has to deal with this, and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny. It's a conversation I have with a lot of people that I don't realize, I guess, who she's influenced. And, a lot of people who follow her and follow her fight and, tell me, she's such a big inspiration. And I guess I look at it and like, it's just another day. It's just another fight, and you kind of forget to step back and say, my gosh, this human is a monster. She's crazy. She's just amazing. And she's my mom, so it's a really cool thing that, but I've taken a lot of her spirit and wildness through my journeys, and it was thanks to her belief that I could kind of I started in real estate and started selling horse farms, and then through my mentor ended up his daughter and I started a team, and it's just kind of like her always saying, like, you've got this, you're so.
She's your motivation.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. What led you into real estate? Because I know, I know I've done some work for you, and I knew you were kind of like horse related with the real estate. So what led you to that?
You know, it's funny. When I moved back from riding, training and stuff, I was kind of lost. I was probably doing some things I shouldn't have been doing.
Well, wait, whoa, pump the brakes. So, okay, so did you go to graduate college, or like just come out of high school or whatever, out of school?
So I went to school for broadcasting. Actually, I went to school for a semester for diesel mechanics. I've always been a bouncer.
Really?
Decided that wasn't my thing, and then started training horses. And as much as I loved doing that, I lost the passion for horses, and just kind of decided that wasn't what I loved. And so I came back and worked at a bar for a while, and was just kind of headed nowhere. And made the decision at 30. I'm like, I got to figure out what I'm doing. And the weird thing is, we had regulars that would come in, and this guy was a broker. You're so freaking smart in real estate. And I thought about it, I'm like, all right, I said, but it's got to be something I love. And so, I decided I love horses. I love farms. What can I do to pay for my horse habit? So it all kind of started there, and just melted into specializing in farms and luxury, and just kind of met the right people along the way who helped me on my journey.
It was like meant to be.
It really was. I mean, I participated in the Retired Racehorse Project and ended up meeting the FEI steward who was running it. His name is Bill Kratz, and he sold horse farms, and he's like, I need a partner. And I'm like, I'll think about it. And he kind of hounded me down, and we became partners, and it just went wild from there. I went from doing like maybe $5 million a year to I think we did 50 in our first year together. So
I'm telling you, if you get the right teammate,
yeah.
like when you get the right teammate when it comes to doing a business, and you got two people that are on the same page, the sky is the limit on what you could do.
Yep. And that's why I love what I do, because I'm not great. Honestly, I'm not. We can just see all kinds. But yeah, I mean, it's just finding that partner and finding that person who believes in you. And I think that was what it took, was you've got this. And he unfortunately passed away, but he had a daughter, and she's also in real estate. She's in Lexington, Kentucky, and he told us right before he passed away, he said, I built this for you. He said, I want you guys to see through all of this and do it. And we did, and it just took off. We've got 6 agents on our team, and it's really been a mind-blowing kind of thing. I've learned a lot and screwed up a lot, and just grateful that people are gracious, and it's really been amazing. So we've great clients and great people on the team.
You're right there in racehorse.
Yes.
The heart of like racehorsing. So did you train like in English and hunt seat or around racehorses, or where did you ride before you got into real estate?
So I always did. We showed quarter horse circuit. I actually started on a quarter pony, but so I did all around. I was never happy doing one thing. I'm sure you've figured that out by now. That I like to have my hands in a lot of things, and so I was the same way.
Nothing wrong with that.
So that's kind of where, like, I did the Retired Racehorse Project, and I did fox hunting, which I'd never done before. But I love jumping. Cool. But I like to show all around. I like kind of being good at a lot of things. So, and my partners grew up in dressage, and her dad is an FEI steward in like 3 different events. So she's in the combined driving and all that kind of stuff. And another girl on our team is into barrel racing. So we kind of have a mixture of pops and people and networks, and but I've learned a little bit about everything. That's kind of been the neat part in this part of town. There's a lot of sport horse people, so we work with a lot of those kind of people, and some thoroughbred farms. Now, we haven't done any like with a track. There seems to be kind of a lock with some people, which is fine. we tend to lean more towards like sport horse and luxury farms, not by decision, just kind of it's just where life's led us. So.
What do you mean? There's a difference between like racehorsing farms versus sport horse farms? What do you mean?
Yeah, and so especially like if you're in the Lexington area, you'll have a lot of the thoroughbred farms. You'll have 6, cinder block or big barns, and they have a whole lot of stalls. And a lot of the sport horse people don't need 100 stalls. They need an indoor and 20 stalls. So it's just a different kind of different kind of buyer, I think.
Where you're at, your market.
Yeah, I mean it's just kind of you don't have as many thoroughbred farms, I guess, in Ohio and northern Kentucky. You'll have a lot of them in Lexington. And Bethany kind of does a little bit more of that, but you still have a lock with, there's some older brokers that have been doing it for 100 years, and they do a lot of the thoroughbred farms.
Oh yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, because I would think that horse racing. I mean, people have said it many times. Horse racing is a rich man's hobby, so it's like, it's not. Yeah, it's not something that you necessarily get into as a living for a living.
Yeah.
It's catered to people that already make a living outside of the industry, and this is just their play money. And yeah, when you're dealing with that type of wealth and that type of money, I could understand how probably a lot of old money. I could understand how they would be apprehensive to anybody new. And
that's kind of been well. And the cool part is, I mean, we're making our name and making our way, and but it's just with our connections, we have connections in, I guess, different worlds. Now we do like thoroughbred rehab facilities. We've sold some of those. I just think the thoroughbred racing facility, we don't do as much. Just because we don't have as many connections in that world.
Yeah, I can see that. And horses is so funny because it's like it's a small world where everybody knows everybody, but everybody's also divided because of all the disciplines are kind of different. So it's just like, the horse world is made up of a web.
It is, and each discipline you kind of need something totally different, and sometimes you get into where things are so specialized. I have friends and clients of mine that they show draft horses, and so they're looking at moving to Lexington, and that's kind of been our hardest thing is they're going to have to rebuild everything because, there's not many places that have 18 by 18 stalls, and you have, you're looking for.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but it's really cool to learn about and to see, and just one of those experiences. I mean, they've become really good friends. So we go out there and they pull me around in a wagon with a 6-horse hitch, and I watched them. They just showed the world, the Clydesdale world, and it's cool to live stream them. And like, these are my people. This is amazing. So,
So do you ever get to go to the racetrack? Do you ever get to go to?
We do. Yeah, we do. And it's just some of the companies we work with, like the lenders and stuff, they'll throw big tailgate parties and that kind of stuff, and sometimes we'll go as a team and be able to enjoy it. We don't always have a whole lot of spare time.
Right.
So we do get to do that kind of stuff. And I was involved with a little ownership group for a little while. And so we would get to go and we would watch the horses that we own race and get to go into the winner's circle and that kind of stuff. That was fun.
Oh, cool. Now, with all of this real estate going on, you don't get a chance to show much, do you?
So I do and I don't. I kind of carve out time because that's my number one spot for networking and for marketing is at the horse shows. So I have 4 horses, but I got a really cute 2-year-old. Unfortunately, we're dealing with some OCD, so she's not going to make her debut until her 3-year-old year. But I'm there all the time. I just don't get to show right now. So We do still ride and that kind of stuff, but I don't have anything to show right now.
But you will.
I know. I will.
Yeah, you will next year. And you're going to be showing, are you going to show like Snaffle Bit, like are you going to show like where your mom goes in Congress and all that kind of good stuff? Or you?
Yeah. So that's the plan is, I have a, will be invited 2-year-old. So she's stunning and she's super athletic. So, the idea is she's going to be I think an English all-arounder. So maybe a little bit of trail. And so, getting her ready for the hunter recital next year.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite class?
I love, so it would have to be showmanship and hunter recital are my two favorites.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I love showmanship. Yeah.
I had this lady.
Really good at it. So.
I remember doing showmanship and halter, and we did halter the same way we did showmanship, but one and the same, whatever. And showmanship was very on point. You just had to be real sharp. You just had to do certain things a certain way, which was cool.
Yep.
But I had this episode with this lady, and she was hilarious. She said, I don't get it. I don't do it. She said, I learned to ride them, not walk them. I about fell out. It is so true, because you're like, you know what? She's right.
Yeah. It's funny. It's been kind of a battle. I'm on the board for a Northern Kentucky Horse Network, and so we've been talking about, okay, we put on these horse shows and clinics, and it's about learning and teaching the kids the foundation of stuff and everything. And I'm like, showmanship, and everybody thinks I'm crazy. I said, if you can't lead a horse, you don't need to be on their back.
Right.
So everybody's like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's, if you're going to move a horse's like front end around or, whatever on their back, you have to know how to do it. In my opinion, I just think it's just like horsemanship, and where, everything comes from dressage and moving body parts. And, I push it because I love it, but I also think it's a great foundation for the kids. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It is great. It is good to be able to, especially for kids, if you want to teach them the safety aspects of it and things of that nature. It was just so funny the way she said it, because I was like, you know what, you're right. We just pay to ride them. Why are we walking them around? But with halter, you're showing the conformation of the horse and that type of things. But with showmanship, you're being judged on how you handle the horse. And so, because I distinctly remember being at a breed show when I was really young, and I remember seeing this guy, because in showmanship they really critique you, the way you stand, the way you hold the lead, the way you move, right foot first, certain things, how you pivot them, lead them, and everything. And I remember seeing this guy in a halter class, and he literally sat down on the ground and was barely holding the horse, and he ended up winning it. And I remember thinking to myself, well, that's not showmanship. And that's when somebody explained to me, they were like, it's a little different with halter versus showmanship.
Yeah. And it's funny, you bring your mints and stuff to crinkle for your halter to get their ears up and everything. And it was never my thing. None of my horses had fantastic conformation. My mare, was phenomenal. Doing anything else, she was a little cowhawked, and so that was never our class. But my mom has a really, really nice gelding, and so she's showing him in performance halter, and she's like, this is a whole new world, the way you do this. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Whoa, what is performance? I didn't know that was a ramp. That's a thing now?
Yeah, so it is. It's been around, but I think it's gotten really big over the past, 5-10 years. It's based on, you have to have, I believe it's a ROM, an ROM in your riding classes, and then you can, and it's English or Western, so then you can go in and you compete against other performance-based horses, but it's a conformation class. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Because you would think conformation would just run the same regardless. You just have basic correct conformation.
You would think, but I think with, the halter classes in general, a lot of those are getting bred so differently, and their bodies are so big and their feet are so small. it's almost they're kind of getting away from being performance correct and just being,
I see.
so muscly. And so I think this way it's going a little bit more towards use of horse. And they're doing that with the ranch classes and everything. They're having ranch halter, and kind of being a little bit more specific to what is this horse meant to do.
Yeah, I could see that. That makes a lot more sense the way you said it like that. Now, I wanted to go back to Vegas really quick. Yeah, because Vegas is, bright lights and all this stuff. So I Googled this as I was listening and talking to you. So they haven't torn down the Tropicana yet. It's going to be done in October. They're going to tear down the Mirage too, and it's going to be the Hard Rock. So they're just replacing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. They're just coming in, and new places are going in, and out with one and in with another. I hope they don't get rid of the flamingo. I feel like that's just a staple.
I have no idea. Are there any horse shows around Vegas?
So they do the NFR and stuff. I don't know if they do. I mean, I would guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like
Yeah.
aside from the NFR, which is more of like, that's not necessarily a horse show. It's like, like an event. But I didn't know if we have any. I'm going to have to look this up. If we have any like horse shows of what we're talking about, dressage and pleasure or whatever have you.
I'd love to see a reining, show. If you could get some type of, Run for the Million or something. I think Vegas would be a phenomenal place to host something like that. Now, it's not the area that I show in, but I sure as heck would love to go to Vegas to watch something like that.
I think it is in Las Vegas, actually. It is in Las Vegas. It's at the Equestrian Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, what do you know?
Hey!
This whole time.
Yeah. I don't know if I sound smart or dumb right now, but
I feel like I probably sound dumb, but I don't care because I had no idea that this is where this was at.
Mhm. Yep. I guess it makes sense if it's a Run for a Million. It's all a gamble, so.
Well, I can see. Okay, that can see where it can get a little confusing because they've gotten a lot of these events for like reining and a lot of these events that have like kind of sprung off of the whole Yellowstone thing and those. What's the one where they have? See, this is where I am going to sound dumb. You have the Run for the Million, which is 3 different disciplines running for one championship. You got a person from cutting, rein cow horse, and then reining. But then there's another one out there where they do. Is it the All American?
Yeah, and that one was after Run for the Million, wasn't it? I think that one was on like a week later. I could be completely wrong, but I thought we watched it after Run for the Million because I
had no idea.
Of it. Yeah.
There's so many now. That's what I'm getting at. It's like so many, and you don't know where any of them are at or what they're doing, and it's like, I don't know. But they say Yellowstone's coming back this year.
Is it really? I didn't watch the last season. I wish I would. I was so into it, but then I think they changed platforms or did something weird. I watched all of it, but I think that last half of the last season, and they just made it so hard because they split it up, and I think they might have changed platforms, and they just made it so difficult.
Okay, so apparently
it's hard to see it. Then just
no, I'm with you. So we do sound dumb, actually. So, Las Vegas has a national horse show. You got the High Roller Reining Classic out there. There's a Western National Championship going on out there. Like, I'm looking at all these things. They actually have a USHJA National Championship in Las Vegas. Yeah, they've got
that'd be fun to do.
A holy cow performance of security. I mean, we don't sound dumb because we don't really show, so we don't really keep up with these dates. But they do have a lot going on. Imagine riding a horse down the Vegas Strip.
Oh my gosh. Mine are not the open-brained enough to do that. They'd be like, no. Now, I would drive circles around them with a golf cart or bikes or whatever dumb stuff that we do at the horse shows, but I just don't think the lights and the craziness, they would be down with that.
Yeah, that's funny you said that too, because my horse that I grew up on, she's the same way. There's no way in hell we would die if you put us in the Las Vegas Strip. She would flip out. But I just did an episode with a nice lady. Her name's Erin Brown, and she rides and trains horses up like literally in the city of Philadelphia. And she was like, those horses are bomb proof. Like, it's just crazy what they get used to out the gate, sirens, cop cars, streets, all that kind of crazy stuff. And you just don't think about it.
Yep. And there has to be, I mean, there's a good friend of mine is a retired, mounted police officer, and then one of the girls on our team, she's a police officer, but she is one of the like responding units if they need mounted patrol. So it's just wild to me what they have to do. But there's horse shows and all kinds of stuff for the obstacle and mounted patrol stuff. I mean, that's just a whole different world that you can even compete in.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I do a lot of work with Diamond K, who are super great. They are awesome people, and they handled training horses for mounted patrol in Florida. I don't know what part of Florida. It's on their Facebook, and the things that they have to go through and put those horses through to make sure that they are okay for that job is insane.
I couldn't imagine the riot control and all. I mean, that's just wild. My brain would fry. I couldn't imagine putting a horse in that situation.
Right, yeah. I definitely need a Xanax for sure. Just to remain calm.
Can I have a big glass of wine and a Xanax, please?
Right. I used to have to take a little Xanax before I hauled with my horse trailer, because it wasn't me that I was worried about. It was always worried about other people.
Yeah.
And, people just don't know how to drive around horse trailers and
I agree. I have had that thought. I think that people who get their license should have to learn to drive a trailer and safety. If somebody's pulled over on the side of the road, I've had to pull over so many times, and they never get over. They whiz right by you, and it is infuriating just how dangerous people are, and they ride your tail and cut you off. It's insane.
Yeah. They need, you know what, you're right. They should put the lesson on them and not us. They should have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are apparently stupid, because there is a lot going on in Vegas for horses. Like, you even have the American Bucking Bull World Finals, which is crazy. You've got the PBR Challenger Series Championship going on. And that's the Paint National Championship is in Vegas.
Huh.
That's October 3rd.
I knew that they did like a lot of rodeo stuff, but I did not know that there was so much actual horse show stuff out there, which is amazing. But I guess it's not something that, if we go, say like our worlds and stuff, they're in Tulsa or Oklahoma, and so that's about as far, west. I guess I've just never been out there, never thought about it. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, me neither. Like, we just don't, like, that South, we just don't keep up. There's no way for us. Why would we keep up with what's going on in Vegas? But that just goes to show how big the freaking place is,
I know.
You don't realize what all's going on.
Mhm. I couldn't imagine. It's kind of funny. I was talking to somebody who does real estate out there, and she does horse farms. And
wow.
But she said, it's such a difference from where we're at. We're looking at, it's a small hobby farm at 5 acres or, whatever. And she said, that's a big piece of land, for us. You don't understand. Like, there's really not grass. They're on 2 or 3 acres, and it's $3-4 million to have that piece of land, and you have a farm.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy cow! $3 million for 2 acres?
Yeah. And it's the same way. I was talking to somebody about, he had a boarding farm in California. I'm sure in different parts of California it's different, but they ran a boarding farm with 30 horses on 5 acres. And I just can't imagine doing that. But, different parts of the country, it's just a different setup. So,
I mean,
horses don't really go out.
Do what?
I say beta horses don't, they don't really turn their horses out because it's not like
Right.
there's a whole bunch of grass to graze or anything because they're droughts and.
Well, I mean, it would be doable, but like you just said, it would be a lot of in and out. They would never be out. Half of them would never be. It would be very, very hard to do. I mean, you would have to be on a strict schedule.
Yeah. And your prices of hay and everything are so high, and it just doesn't make sense, I guess, to me. It's, your hay prices are so much higher, and you don't have, the land to grow, and, you're not growing your own hay, and you're not, horses aren't surviving out in a 20-acre pasture, so it's just wild.
Holy cow. Have you ever looked, not to totally be squirrel brain on you, but like I am on Ticketmaster with Planet Hollywood looking at these residencies. Do you know how much it costs to see Shania Twain at her Las Vegas residence?
I have no idea.
It includes a 2-night, this includes a stay at the hotel and you get to see her. It's $1,200 a person.
Whoa. Whoa. Wow. I hope they're good seats, right?
Well, right? Oh my God. That's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I just don't. I mean, I like her, but.
She said, I don't like her that much.
Yeah.
I don't think I like anybody that much.
No. I did pay way too much to go see Hardy because I like him.
Who is that?
Hardy. Hardy. Yeah, he's just a wild man. I like that.
Oh, cool.
It's like this weird crossover of like heavy metal meets country, and
yeah,
I feel like he's bird brained like us, where he's like he can't quite figure out what he wants to be, so he's everything. It's good.
Well, hold on a second. Is it just called Hardy? Is that just his name?
Yep, Hardy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up because this doesn't have. Well, look, they don't have Miranda. I guess they can only have so many residencies, or do you just have it at a particular hotel? I guess.
I think different places will have residencies. A lot of the DJs and stuff have residencies, but I don't know. Is Celine Dion still there? And
That's right. I saw that.
I saw Viva there. Who else? I don't know. But yeah, I think and some there's some that have like residencies at smaller places, and I just think it's cool. Some of them will pop in, like Callie said, she does this one that's in this underground speakeasy that
Oh, cool.
it's one of the places she performs. I can't remember where she said she has her residency, but she'll go sometimes and just go to this like speakeasy that's like a super sexy vibe, and she say it's just everything I love. So definitely gonna check that out.
Garth Brooks is at Caesar's Palace.
That'd be amazing.
I bet you that's a lot of money. I bet you it costs a lot. I'm trying to look right now. I'm going to tell you how much. If you want to see, I'm going to see if I can find this on how much it would cost to see Garth Brooks in Las Vegas. I didn't even know he was in Las Vegas.
I didn't either. I saw him for the first time when he came to Cincinnati at the stadium, and that was a lot. And we were like nosebleed, but it didn't matter because everybody was dancing and singing.
Yeah, I think those are the best kinds of concerts. Where you you tailgate with some cheap beer and you end up inside a.
Yep.
Like you say, nosebleed. You don't really need to be up there to see them. Just have a good time.
Yep. It's just the experience.
Yeah.
Plus, I can't even imagine what the pit tickets are for something like that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it probably would be. I can't find. I must be looking in the wrong place because I can't find how much it would cost to see Garth Brooks in Las Vegas. But not like we're gonna go. But
you never know. I'm the kind of person that I'm like, I have the weekend off. You want to go somewhere? Cool, let's go.
Yeah,
I think some of the best
Vegas
happen like that. Yeah. The best one was when my friend and I both decided that we were angry at the guys we were with, and we're supposed to go on trips with them, and we're like, no, we're going to do a girls trip, and we booked it that night. We're on a plane at 6 in the morning, and it was the best trip I've ever had. It was so much fun. They were very mad at us, but
Those are the
we
best
had a
ones.
great time, man.
The ones that you don't plan always end up being the best ones. Like, I was talking to somebody, or I don't know where I was. I was in this conversation. We were talking about vacationing and leaving and all that kind of good stuff. And she said the very same thing. She was like, it's the ones that are just totally random, that are not planned, that you end up having the best freaking time. So when you go and try to plan it, it's always something.
Oh, it is. And I'm an overanalyzer and a stressor. So I will wait until the last minute to make plans, and then nothing ever works out right. So I'm always I don't know, I'm just going to let it ride kind of person. Just wherever we end up. That's even when we were doing like the TV show, I have gotten better about writing stuff out and writing some questions out. But I mean, I just learned, doing the, being live on air, you just kind of go with it. You don't know so I did an interview. Now, this was not related to City Nights, but I was doing this kind of grassroots interview, and I went down to this Chick Ridge Bike Festival, and Shooter Jennings was playing. And
that's who is he? Isn't he
Waylon Jennings?
Yes.
And so this was down. I ended up, I didn't know where I was going. I drove this Corvette down there, and it ended up being a like a 1%er bike rally. So my life was threatened, and until they figured out that I was an invited guest, so because I had camera crew and stuff, and they're like, you do not, you don't understand where you're at. And so I said, whoa, I was asked to come here. And so then everybody's riding me around on their bikes and everything. So I'm interviewing Shooter after the show, and I'm sitting back there, and I had him prepped with my questions, and what was one of the craziest things you saw, and he had some TV ready answer. So we start filming, and he goes, so Shooter, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen on stage? And he's like, well, the fellatio I just watched happen in my front row. I'm like, oh my dear God.
The what?
The fellatio I just watched go down on the front of my stage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's a wild individual.
I would think so. So go back. His dad is Waylon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, yeah, he grew up around all of that. There's probably nothing phases that kid.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He was so nice, like just one of those, again, really nice people to talk to and hang out, but just kind of one of those funny moments that I'm like, I totally prepped for this. I did my homework. I had my questions written down. I went in there, and then it goes sideways.
Right.
Yeah. Probably would
I
have
couldn't imagine
you,
going live.
but at least you could edit it if you need to, I think.
Yes, that's what I was just fixing to say. Like, I would do it if I had to do it, but it's really nice to know that you can
go back and edit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. But I like the live TV thing. You just kind of roll with it. You laugh, and yeah, here we are. Okay.
So yeah, y'all were live, and he just said that, and you just froze.
Oh yeah, I did. Well, my face, it was like slow-mo, where my jaw dropped, and I'm like, oh yeah, that is pretty crazy for stuff to happen. It was one of the funniest. You can read everything on my face all the time anyway, but like my brain just stopped for 3 seconds, and then I'm like, oh crap, we got to get back to this.
He had a good hit song, but he didn't have a lot. Like, he didn't really do a lot. He only did like a couple of things, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's still very like kind of underground, but he's so intelligent. Like, if you ever get the chance, I don't know if you watch the Joe Rogan podcast, but his interview on the Joe Rogan podcast is fantastic.
I bet he would be a cool dude to talk to, though.
Yeah. He's really deep and just kind of like introspective on a lot of things, and with all the stuff he's seen in life. I mean, whew.
Yeah, that's what I was fixing to say. It would be cool to talk to him just actually outside of the music aspect and just talk to him about how it was being Waylon Jennings' freaking son. Like,
Yeah.
you know, how do you deal with that? Because, you know, there are a lot of, like, celebrity and singer kids just
Yeah.
like him that kind of fall, I don't want to say they fall off the face of the earth, but that lifestyle's not for them. And they just kind of like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they don't follow in those footsteps of their family. They kind of want to be, they want to be normal. Even they're
Yeah.
actually, God, I can't remember her name. But a friend of mine or an old customer of mine, they live in Texas now. I did some work for them when he was going to the NFR, as a team roper, and his wife, uh, I did work for her and him, but his wife, her name was Carrie, and her brother was married to Dale Earnhardt's daughter.
Wow.
And yeah, it was so wild because she just didn't, you wouldn't have thought it, and she didn't want you to think it. Like she didn't,
Yep.
like you knew who she was and you knew who her daddy was, but she did not want it to be that point of reference. Like she just wanted to live like a normal life. And that's the first thing I thought of when you said Shooter Jennings. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's that type of person, which I don't blame them. I mean, imagine having to be around that
Yeah.
your whole life.
Yep. And that, it's a vicious cycle of, like trying to brand yourself as your own human. I think
Right.
has been the biggest struggle for a lot of the artists and stuff that I talk to that have ties. It's how do they step out of the shadow and not just be, somebody's daughter or
Right.
son or, whatever it is. And, how do they write their own chapter?
That's it. Gone to Carolina. There was one song that went radio from him. I believe that was it, and it was a really good song. But the rest
Yeah.
of them, I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's it. I'm gonna have to listen to it when we get off of here, but because that was a really good
They do
song.
play them on like series and stuff on the Outlaw channel.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he's wanted to stay underground because he doesn't want to
Right.
conform, which I respect.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You got to respect that. Give me a break. I mean, Shooter, it's Waylon Jennings' son. Give me a break. Like,
Yep.
he
He's
paved the
always going to
way
be,
for so much.
Yep, exactly. Yep. He's always going to be himself, and those are the kind of people that I like. The good, the bad, and the ugly. At least I know what I'm dealing with.
Right, yeah, yeah. You got to respect that, absolutely. And that's like, you know, Jelly Roll. That's the guy that's been out here a couple of years, and yeah, he's a big deal. And his wife Bunny and everything. And I remember seeing a TikTok where somebody was saying something about they were referring to Bunny as Jelly Roll's wife instead of who she was.
Yeah.
And she actually kind of talked about the same thing we're talking about. Like, no, I am my person. I'm not.
Yeah.
You don't want to be just. You know, nobody wants to be known as so and so's spouse, so and so's mom,
Yes.
so and so's child. You know, you want your own identity and live your own life.
One thing I really respect with him is, he always tells the story of, how he made it because she paid the bills and she, allowed him to be able to grow into what he is now and believes in him. And, if it wasn't for Bunny, I think it's really cool that he's that kind of person that, even with all his fame and, in her own right, I mean, she has just as many followers because she's not afraid to be herself and live on the edge. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, because you just made me think about earlier in the conversation where I think you brought up The Voice, not The View, The Voice and like American Idol. And that's so funny you brought that up because literally yesterday I was thinking, how many of those people actually succeeded? And you only have like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You have like Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood are literally the only 2 people that come off American Idol to actually succeed.
Yeah.
And when you think about that, like percentage, it makes you think or makes me think like how hard that industry actually is to survive and what you do have to do to conform or not conform in order to succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a bullet that a lot of people don't want to take, and and who is brave enough that after they get that and get signed, are they are they able to make their kind of music and be true to themselves while still have the following. I think there's very few artists who are able to do that. But I applaud the ones that can.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we were saying with, I think, TikTok being around and the outlets that are around nowadays, it's so much easier for somebody to go, you know what? I can go independent, homie. I can build up my own money. And, the old school ways get changed every now and again. And sometimes the big industry gets a jolt like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
We might want to count our blessings because you're right. If all these people decide to go independent, decide to do their own thing, you know.
And that's a lot of the artists that I work with they may be signed or, but a lot of the people, will work with Arista Records. We do a lot of premieres for a lot of artists and, whether they're signed or not, they use this marketing company. And so the marketing company sends it to us. And we are kind of the test crowd for their new videos. So,
Cool.
We've had, Sammy Kershaw. We've had,
Really?
Yeah. Well, I haven't, I didn't get to interview him or anything, but we were, one of his new ones that he put out was on our show. So it's been pretty cool to do that. And there's an artist, Jess Kelly Adams, who she's so talented and just one of those just sweet, kind people. We're actually going to do go up and film her. She's doing the Bob Evans festival, so we're going to film that, and then we're doing kind of an around the fire interview. We got a cabin, and so we're gonna, she's gonna play some songs and just really get to know her. But again, it's these independent people who are just hungry to make it and do it on their own. And there's so many talented people out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, do you remember Jamie Johnson? Did you ever speak to him?
Oh my gosh, she's incredible. Yeah. No, I didn't. I wish I did.
Yeah.
He's another one that just like life stories. I can only imagine just from his life battles and what a deep soul he seems to be.
Yeah, that's what I was fixing to say. It's like those types of like Shooter and then Jamie, like, yeah, it is. It's like a old soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have Morgan Wallen.
I know. I have to say I am a fan of him, but
you're not?
I am.
Oh, fix to say I love Morgan. I think he's cool as hell because you always have. It's like he reminds me of the Taylor Swift of country music because he has a really like
wide
loyal fan base, but then he does have some loud haters, and it's like, what? How can you hate this dude?
I know. He's just living his life, and I mean, what would anybody else do? I try really hard not to judge, especially coming from like.
Do you have dogs?
I do. I have one.
Do you have a little one or a big one?
He's a border collie English shepherd.
Oh.
He's like a fat sausage right now, but he's typically he should be lean and very active, but he is not.
Well, it's okay. I have a mini Aussie, and he's definitely not active except with his mouth.
Gulliver's not a barker, except for when people first, if they walk in the door, he barks at them, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, Rufus is, I'm the only thing that he knows, and he's small. He's probably 13 pounds, and he just I didn't socialize him very well. He was a runt of his litter, and he literally hates everybody but me. It's funny, but it's not funny. It's just something I have lived with, dealt with. And so, my mom and my nephew just kind of pulled up outside, and I've got him outside right now. So I heard him barking, and I had to tell him I was on the phone right now, whatever, And I guess that's the props of living in a small town and on land. But anyway, I didn't know if you had a little dog like that or not. Little dog syndrome is what I call it.
Uh-huh. They do. They definitely get little dog syndrome.
Well, that's really cool that you have, you're doing the city night thing and all of that kind of stuff. That's really cool that you guys get to do that because it's, telling like when you speak to somebody or you guys kind of test it out where that person's going to go. Have you ever spoken with somebody and thought, okay, well, this person's going to be a star and then you never hear from them again? Or have you spoken to anybody that you're like, no, they're not going to do anything. And the next thing you know, they're out there doing it.
I don't know if there's necessarily been any opposites. There's been people that I thought they are incredible. They're going to be a star. And for some reason or another, they just didn't quite make it to where they should have been. And I was always kind of confused why, but you never know. I guess life kind of, it's all in who you know and, just who you happen to meet. But, there's been people that I'm like, why are we interviewing this person? But, for the most part, everybody seems to be on their way, and how far they get, I don't know. But, I really do think it just happens to be who you meet and when you put out a certain song.
Yeah. So you think the song has a lot to do with it?
I do. It's obviously things have to connect with an audience, and it depends on life and where somebody's at and what's going on in the world, and it's just one of those things that in one song in the right moment I think can make an artist, and then it's what you decide to do with it after that.
Yeah,
I think that's true for anything, and anybody. If you're given that opportunity, what are you going to do with it? And what can you take from your past experiences and create something else?
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. That is true with anything in life. It just depends on what you do with it and how far you go with it and things of that nature. So
how hungry you are. And I think, they say talent always gets you so far, if you're not willing to put in the work and the long hours, and it's you give up a lot, whether that's family, whether that's anything. You have to make the choice to make sacrifices in places that you really don't want to.
Yeah. Yep, that is absolutely true. I can attest to that for sure. If you want to get anywhere in life, you got to sacrifice. But I just didn't know if it was a certain combination of like personality, song, people, company that kind of just puts you on the edge as far as that market is concerned and what you listen to and what you get to listen to. I didn't know if it just was like a particular thing. I didn't mean it as a generalization of just hard work.
I don't think so. I don't think it's like a particular thing that you can see, and
Yeah.
You never know. I don't know. It's just kind of sometimes random.
Yeah.
There's so many talented people, and I think I think it's really random, unfortunately.
Yeah. Which, no, that's probably a cool thing, If we could predict that stuff, it'd be great, wouldn't it?
Right, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's all that I wanted to talk about.
All my randomness.
I think it's great. I think it's so much great to like just have a conversation with people because social media has just taken away so much context and emotional context when it comes to, because, I met you, you're a customer of mine. We did work for you. And so it's able to just talk and have a conversation and speak to people and learn about people. It just makes the world so much better.